Hello folks, and welcome to this episode of Telling Tinder Tales, the podcast where people get to tell their interesting dating stories with me, Chris O'Neill.
And me, Thomasin Lockwood. On today's episode, we have two guests calling in from two different locations. We have Aram.
Hello, I'm in East London, originally from Iran.
Excellent. And we have Austin.
Hi, I'm Austin from Lincoln.
Welcome, welcome.
Very good, thank you.
Let's jump into our tales, and we will start with Aram. So whenever you're ready, the floor is yours. Let's hear your tale.
First of all, I was thinking about the name of the series that you have invited me on. I never really used Tinder. You know, something about it always felt like a car crash. Too chaotic, too many people I want to sprint away from if intimacy was on the table. But long before Tinder, back in the, era of Yahoo Messenger, I had my first experience with online dating. At the time, we didn't have an easy way to exchange pictures. You kind of just trusted the blurry, pixelated profile pic, which may or may not have been from 5 years ago or taken at a very strategic angle, or even if it's a real person. But somehow this guy and I had been chatting for a while, and we figured we could trust each other enough to meet in public, of course. So there I was, showing up for my first ever internet date. I don't remember exactly how we would describe ourselves to each other. So we found each other. It was in front of an international food court. Expectations versus reality. Very different. I'm pretty small. He was unbelievably tall, like a whole different attitude. He was very blonde, while I'm, very typical olive skin. If we stood side by side, we looked less like a couple and more like a circus act. Elephant and a teacup. So, but hey, we were there. We were going to grab a non-alcoholic, of course, drink, and I was trying to be open-minded. As we walked towards the food stalls, he said, "Hey, I just need to pop to the loo. Why don't you take a look at the menu?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." I stood there, browsing, waiting. 5 minutes passed, 10 after 15. I finally thought, okay, something definitely off. Then I looked at the lower level where the bathroom were, and he was gone. No goodbye, no excuse. And look, I get it now. He saw me and thought, no, abort mission.
Oh, God.
But standing there in that moment, well, it was a feeling that's hard to describe. Not anger, not sadness, just this weird sinking, okay then. Well, I could have gone home, could have been embarrassed, but instead I did something better. So now a little context. I grew up in Iran, where self-expression, especially around sexuality, wasn't exactly encouraged. And I wasn't fully aware of my own sexuality at the time. I was just going along with the idea that at some point I should find the right guy. Society said so, my friends said so, even my childhood self, who was secretly more fascinated by the girls around me, hadn't quite put the pieces together yet. I found a public telephone, dialed the number of my favorite high school teacher. A lady, the one I may or may not have had a massive crush on, and went to see her instead. And let me tell you, the taxi ride to see her, way more exciting than my blind date. And of course, I didn't know what that meant at the time, but looking back, it's crystal clear. That whole evening, the awkward mismatch, the disappearing act, the thrill of heading to see someone who actually made my heart race. It was less about rejection and more about realization, because the truth is I wasn't really looking for him. I never had been.
Oh, very good.
Amazing.
That's a fascinating story. Yeah.
It's quite old, this story. It's about like 20, 21 years ago.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't think that story gets old, to be perfectly honest. It's a very moving story. I suppose my question is not intended to be moving at all. Do you now have a maximum height for anyone you would have a relationship with?
I have always been open. There is never ever a limit or maximum altitude, but I can put myself in someone else's shoes, and perhaps they probably care, and that's fair enough.
I thought for a minute you were going to say, oh, as long as I can fit into their shoes, that's my parameter. I was like, wait. I understand.
Excellent, very good. Thomasin, have you any questions for Aram?
Yeah, I mean, it really was a circus act, huh? The disappearing man. I got to be honest, though, the optimist in me is just thinking, well, maybe he just couldn't see you. Maybe he was walking around trying to find you, and he went somewhere else, and he was like, I can't see her. Like, this is I don't know what to do.
No, I would love that way of thinking. That's maybe the best way to put it.
I love your way of thinking. I love that, you're on the cusp of discovering, what you're really attracted to. You go on this one date with a guy, he disappears, and you're like, well, I tried. Well, that's I gave it a good go. Gave the hetero thing a good go. Time to call my teacher, who I have a crush on. Great. Just great. My question for you, though, is I'm not quite sure how it worked, but how do you even meet someone new on Yahoo Messenger? Because on Tinder, right, at least you have to swipe.
Well, welcome to Iran.
Okay.
We find any circumstance or opportunity to get to know each other. Even when you go to a coffee shop, you try to exchange number at least with 7-8 people. I mean, at the time I was there. Now I have been living in England for 18 years and I have not been back. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, but we really treated Yahoo Messenger as a way to get to know other people and just go on date with.
Oh, that I understand, but I guess it's more the mechanics of, like, how did you find this man's details? Like, can anyone message anyone in Yahoo? Like, could I message the president?
I think there used to be these chat rooms that you could just join the chat rooms, and then so chat rooms within the Yahoo Messengers, and then by the topic of the room you would be interested, you open the door. Yeah, and a lot of the chat rooms were all about having online sex chats with each other as well.
I'm sorry, but I know you called Tinder something of a car crash to you, but that to me sounds like Battle Royale. That is...
I'm with you. Tinder is not that much of a hype.
Yeah, you're like, it's for the weak.
All right.
What do you mean you know each other's names and pictures before you?
You have to know the feeling. You have to trust your sixth sense.
Oh, okay. Austin, do you have any questions for Aram?
Yeah, I'm just intrigued. You just go into a coffee shop and just give numbers out to people. It's just what you did. And I was wondering where that part comes from in the culture, because it feels like these days you need to know their star sign, where they were born, and their national insurance number before you get a phone number these days.
It comes from suppression. After 1979, there was a revolution with the help of Western countries. So we have this Islamic regime in power, which tries to separate women and men. However, over the years, people, they ultimately want to live their culture, their life, and their, practice their freedom. So they have always found ways. But for a society that has been pushed away in terms of experiencing for girls and boys to be together, they will find a way. They will find ways. For instance, when I was growing up, one of the hobbies we had, not particularly myself, but people around like teenagers or even older, they would just go driving on these particular roads, up and down the road, just to see each other, exchange number, do a little bit of rendezvous. So streets also become another kind of place to, honestly, like, I never was proud to go on the street. And I'm not proud to say this, but as a girl, it was very difficult for me because every time I went out, at least 6-7 men would try to approach you. Because why? Because after 1979, they banned a lot of things. They banned bars. They banned, many things that previously it was okay and it was there for people to go and have entertainment outside the house. So to just give you a sum up, it's just people being creative with the limitations that they've been exposed to, I would say.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yes,
That's really wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know we're an entertainment podcast. We love to have a laugh, but I think I'm in awe of how you've articulated that so well. I really think that's great. And to be honest, I wish I had that kind of excuse as to why my standards are just like throw my number out at coffee shops. I don't have a revolution. I'm just this is how it is for me.
I've put mine on the help wanted sign at this point outside every single shop in town.
But thank you, Aram. It was really great to highlight your experience and as well as your story today.
Thank you, Aram. So, Austin, have you a story to tell us?
Yes, I do have a story to tell you. I'm going to give you a bit of context first. So, when you're a disabled man such as myself, and you go on a night out, there is this phenomenon that I like to call the Oxfam Dance. It's when you're in a wheelchair and, a girl will come up to you and just dance with you. You think you're vibing, you think you're going to get a number or Snapchat or whatever. And then the boyfriend comes back, then she fucks off because her good deed's done for the night. Is basically what the Oxfam Dance is. 2 Christmases ago, I had the Oxfam Dance to beat all Oxfam dances. So I went on a pub crawl with my friends, a Christmas pub crawl. I'd already been kind of shafted at this point because they all agreed to dress up as like Christmas characters like Santa Claus, elves, that sort of thing. So I decided to go basically in a Rudolph mascot outfit. Long story short, I end up in a goth nightclub wearing this bright as anything Rudolph the Rednosed Reindeer costume. And they also do this as well. They don't ask you. They will ask the person stood next to the wheelchair because, what I want is completely irrelevant. But they will ask the person stood next to them. And I just remember the girl just walking up to him, my friend at the time. And she went, oh, does he want to dance? And he just goes, well, ask him. I don't know. So obviously we end up doing the traditional Oxfam dance. And he goes... how old are you? I go, oh, I'm 23. She goes, I'm 35. I'm single, but I'm 35. If that's all right with you. So, gives me the number and all that sort of stuff. My friends act like I've scored a goal at the World Cup final. And she's obviously seen this in the corner of her eye, comes up to me, then tells me that she's engaged. So the complete 180 going from single to engaged in about 20 minutes. Then comes up to me again, tries to kiss me after telling me that she's engaged, which is a whole new level of just bizarre. So I'm just she's just wondering why I'm just confused. I'm like, you told me you were engaged 10 minutes ago. Of course I'm confused. That is my story.
Thank you very much, Austin. Wow. Okay. By the way, first of all, genius writing for the Oxfam Dance. I love that. That's so funny. I'm just so confused about this lady as well. I like, my only theory is that she was a twin, and that one of them kept leaving the room, and then the other one came in and see the friends cheering like, "Oh, you got her number," and she's like, "No, you haven't. I'm engaged." And then she walks out, and the other one comes in like, "Hey, you, what's wrong?" Like that's
it was definitely one of the most bizarre nights of my life. I think it just kind of escalated just quickly. So it just kind of went like, I remember I was walking out and she's obviously having an argument with like fiance. I don't
he's
know
there.
what. I don't know why. Yeah, he was there. He was there watching it take place the entire time.
Oh,
He was there the entire time watching this happen. Because usually what happens is I will get introduced to the boyfriend like nothing's just taken place because they don't see me as a sex symbol because the wheelchair makes me about 3 foot tall. So yeah, they don't feel threatened by it at all. They just give me like shake hands, and it's just a bit like just very bizarre. And yeah, so the fiance literally watched the entire thing take place, including the number and the kiss take place, while it was happening.
That only makes it more confusing. Chris, any questions?
I have to say, I think, and it is saying something, that is genuinely one of the weirdest stories I have ever heard told, and I have heard some corkers. That is weird. The boyfriend looking, I mean, this is, yeah, voyeurism or something. I know. Also, thank you for contributing a new term to the language, the Oxfam Dance. That's
the Oxfam Dance. Yeah,
it's a brilliant. I'm not sure Oxfam are going to be too pleased with the usage, but nevertheless, she kissed you. Was she a good kisser?
Oh, now we're getting there.
It was relatively decent. I'll give it a solid. I don't have much experience. It was a running joke at school that the 40-year-old virgin was based on my life.
Oh.
So it did kind of feel like rags to riches at the time. So, you know, yeah, it was relatively decent.
My other question, Austin, is, you know, you were in Lincoln at the time, and she presumably is from Lincoln. Did you ever encounter her with her boyfriend in the daylight?
No, I've actually managed to avoid that. Fortunately, it seems to be what happens in the goth nightclub stays in the goth nightclub. I've also happened where somebody has made me motorboat them against my will in front of their boyfriend before. That has also happened to me.
Oh, jeez.
Told me that I look cute at the bar, brings me over to dance, the straight up, hand at the back of the head, straight in the honkers. And so that's also happened at this nightclub.
I don't think you should go back to that nightclub.
No.
It's the closest I get. I have a loyalty card at this point.
Yeah, they're like, welcome back, sir.
There is nothing ironic about you owning a loyalty card, let me say that.
Yeah.
I just love this like alter ego. Honestly, I think you need to write about it. Like you say, you know, the daytime your friends are joking like, oh, you're a 40-year-old virgin. You're like, but I'm like 23. And they're like, doesn't matter. But then you go to this club and everyone's like, there's that slag. There he is. Come here.
Yeah, there's the most uneventful slag in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, I also get this sort of concern when people kind of come up to me when they say, "Oh, my friend or my brother's in a wheelchair," and I don't know whether this is just years of not getting anywhere, but I've always got this voice in the back of my head that makes me think they want to shag their relative. That's why they brought it up. It's like some deep-seated like insecurity that they want to like. I always just get the vibe because it's always the first thing they say. They don't go, "Oh, nice, whatever." It's just, "Oh, my friend's in a wheelchair," which makes me think the first thing you came when you wanted to get my Snapchat or my number was your family relative.
Freud talked about this.
Okay.
Is there some deep-seated desire to be intimate with your family? Is what I would want to ask them the first time.
I mean, it's telling that that's your first theory as opposed to like, oh, they're being clunky or they're being ableist. You're like, that person wants to fuck their uncle. Like, I like what a way of thinking.
I'm
Austin.
a comedian. I go to the extremes straight away. I go to the punchline straight away. That's
yeah.
Aram, did you have any other questions for or comments for Austin?
So I wanted to know, why do you think she acted that way? And how did the boyfriend at the same time was behaving? Do you think they wanted a threesome?
To answer another question, I would have been up for it if they did offer this. I sensed that question was coming. So, certainly when I got accidentally motorboated, I did think they did want the threesome, but I would have kept my socks on, so it wasn't weird. So, no eye contact, kept the socks on. It's fine.
That's not what they mean by protection.
Yeah.
I've got the
Great.
hip movement of a 70-year-old, so they'd have to do all the work. It's fine.
There are some very adventurous 70-year-olds, I believe. Anyway,
I love that. There's lots of ways that you can prolong lovemaking. You know, there's Viagra, there's this, and I love the fact you're like, if I keep my socks on, don't worry, like, I'm going to be in the game for much longer, baby. I got you.
I mean, I wear a ski coat, gloves,
Woolly hat.
woolly hat, scarf,
You're
bit of hot,
dressed.
bit of hot chocolate, Ovaltine. Can't complain.
oh my gosh. Okay.
I think it's time to start wrapping up. Thank you so much for our guests for coming on today. Just before we leave, Aram, any last thoughts or anything you'd like to plug or give a shout out to?
I just want to say it is always good to connect to people, whether you gotta work out or not. You gain experience, you learn about other people. But yeah, just get out there and explore.
That's a lovely last thought. Thank you. I think, yeah, connection is the name of the game, right? And it's however you go about it, as long as that's the intention, right? Lovely. And Austin, anything to plug? Any last thoughts?
I guess what I would want to say is keep trying, and if it fails, it's hilarious. Is what I would want to really say. Really, that's kind of the approach I always take. As long as it was hilarious, it was worth doing.
Excellent.
It's basically what I want to say.
That is a tremendously optimistic way of looking forward to things. Well done, Austin.
You gotta be.
So if you've been listening to the show here, please keep an eye out for our live shows, Telling Tinder Tales. We're going to be appearing in places all over the UK, really. Derby, Shrewsbury, Buxton, Edinburgh, probably Colchester, and as far away as November in Nottingham.
Lovely. You'll find details of that on our social media, or you can just pop us an email at tellingtindertales@gmail.com if you'd like more info about the live shows. But if you've enjoyed the podcast, please do give us a 5-star review and follow us. As a small up-and-coming podcast, it really makes a difference. If you give us 5 stars, I will tell you I'm single and give you my number. And if you give us 1 star, no, I'm not. I'm engaged.
God.
But I think that's it. Any last thoughts, Chris, before we say goodbye?
No, I don't think so. This has been a tremendously interesting and uplifting episode, and it's been fun. Thank you both very much to our guests and to you, Thomasin. And it's just time to say goodbye. Say goodbye, folks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Telling Tinder Tales is hosted and produced by me, Chris O'Neill, and Thomasin Lockwood. Produced and edited by Lucy Regan, with music by Kinkas Moreira. It's a Jesters Comedy Dublin production and is no way affiliated with or endorsed by Tinder. If you have a story to tell, please get in touch. Details are in the show notes. And if you like us, instead of swiping right, follow us on Instagram and or TikTok at Telling Tinder Tales.